Does KDP have the right to withhold earnings from authors and publishers? Let's take a look at KDP's terms of service with everybody's favorite IP and entertainment lawyer, Tony.
My name is Tony Iliakostas. I'm an adjunct professor of entertainment law and IP at New York Law School, and have an Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok account called The IP Professor that is dedicated to all things intellectual property.
We've been going over some of the clauses inside of the terms of service with KDP, and today we're going to be talking about when can KDP legally withhold royalties from publishers and authors. So, Tony, what do we need to know?
So first off, we need to understand what representations and warranties we even have to KDP, because that plays heavily into essentially your question about when royalties can be withheld. There is a clause in the KDP terms and conditions that lays out that they can withhold it for accounting purposes, for, if they notice that there was, let's say, a lapse in how payment was made in one quarter, then, that would affect how it goes for the rest of the accounting term. But very interestingly enough, there was a specific part of that clause that states that if you violate any of the representation and warranties or any of the content guidelines, that not only gives KDP reason to not pay you royalties, but that also gives them reason to terminate your agreement and your account with KDP. And that goes right into this section right here on representation, warranties, and indemnities. So I love representation and warranty clauses. This is probably one of the two favorite clauses that I love reading whenever I'm reviewing contracts, mainly because I've seen them so many times that I could literally recite them verbatim. But number two, they really are the focal point of the operation of this contract. So right here, front and center, the contract with KDP states that you represent and warn that you have the full authority to enter into this agreement. But then, as you read later on, it states that you are essentially verifying that you are the true copyright owner or other intellectual property right owner of whatever content you are providing to KDP by way of uploading a book. Let's say that there was artwork, that artwork on the book cover is authentically yours. All of it that you're providing to KDP is yours. This is basically where then it gets tricky. If you violate any of those rep and warranty clauses, that's where it could be essentially the termination of that contract. So if in fact you are not the copyright owner of a book that you say that you are, that could be a reason for termination. If you were not truthful in making certain sense about the authenticity of the book, that could be another ground for terminating. It does go on, even if you read a little bit further under subsection C more specifically, it does state that your whatever material you're providing will not violate any moral rights or does not contain any defamatory material or violate any laws or regulations of any jurisdiction. Even if you violate that, if you say that you're not being defamatory or if you're not violating any moral rights, and in fact you do, that could be another ground for terminating the contract between you, the user, and KDP. But then we read later on, we have the other clause that I love reading, which is the indemnification clause. And indemnification clauses are kind of funny because the whole essence of an indemnification clause is that what happens if there is a lawsuit that ensues as a result of this contract? Let's say you went to KDP, you uploaded a book, you say, I'm the copyright owner, and a year later, the true copyright owner comes out of the woodwork and says, K.M. Robinson, it said that she was the copyright owner. Not so fast. I'm the copyright owner. God forbid. That's never going to happen to you, KM. But this is for hypothetical purposes only. Either way, when that happens, now that breeds a whole lawsuit. That breeds your copyright infringement claim, but not just against the author who claims to be the copyright owner, but now this also leads to a copyright infringement lawsuit against KDP. Why? Because they are distributing this specific book that belongs to the author. And the reason why they can go after KDP is because KDP would in effect be violating the one of the exclusive rights under copyright law. 17 U.S.C. 106 lays out 6 of them very specifically. So the reproduction right, producing reproduced versions of the book, let's say by way of a digitized version of the book, that is something that the author could say, hey, you're violating that right that belongs to me. Either way, if the moment KDP gets that clause or gets that infringement claim, that's when the indemnification clause kicks in. because now what KDP can do is they can tell the author, hey, listen, we got this lawsuit from someone that said that they're the copyright owner of this book that you say you're the owner of. For this reason, we're going to kick in the indemnification clause, meaning you're going to handle the legal claim on our behalf. We're not going to lift a finger. This is all going to be on you. You're going to foot the bill for the legal fees. You're going to foot the bill potentially for the settlement if it even reaches that. Whatever it costs, that's not going to come off of our books. This is going to come off of yours. And at the end of the day, we're just going to be sitting back and hoping for the best that you're going to do your job and your counsel will do their job. This is so common in the whole aspect of the licensing space, but in something like this, it's very clear that that's the reason why the indemnification clause could kick in. All that to say, bottom line is, if there is a violation of the rep and warranty clause, I think that is the most pivotal reason as to why there could be a withholding of royalties. As you can see on screen here from 5.4.8, that could be one of the principal reasons why KDP does not pay you any royalties if you end up violating basically those specific clauses, the rep and warranty clauses in the KDP contract. But like I said, if you even read it, obviously if there was some type of accounting error or something like that, that could potentially be that could be potentially a reason why there could be withholding of payments. I even see here something that if we determine that your activity was deceptive, fraudulent, or illegal, that could be withholding of payments. I mean, obviously that is a given, right? So pretty cut and dry. I personally have no dispute with the way this language is laid out. I think this is pretty standard of protocol for what they would have for non-payment of royalties. But I would say that the rep and warranty clause is something that everyone, especially if you're planning on signing up for a KDP account, you definitely should be paying attention to that specific clause. Because again, you may not realize what you're agreeing to when you blindly agree to terms and conditions. And here, front and center, that section 5.8, if I'm not mistaken, does lay out what you are blatantly agreeing to, what you are representing and warranting as an author.
And of course, in recent episodes, we did talk about what to do if you need to bring some type of lawsuit against KDP for not paying you properly or for whatever reason. So make sure you check out that full playlist with Tony down below on the legal side of the publishing industry. And if you have further questions on this, go ahead and let us know. We are coming back to discuss even more of the clauses in the KDP terms of service. And as always, you can reach out to Tony on his social media. Tony, where can everybody find you?
You can find me on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at the IP Professor. You can check out my entertainment law podcast called Scene. New episodes drop every Friday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
If you have questions on this, drop those down below. Tony's coming back for upcoming episodes where we're going to continue to help you on the legal side of publishing, including going over the terms of service from some of these book printers and distributors. So now's the time to let us know what you have questions on. We're also dropping daily videos to help you navigate the world of publishing, from your writing to your publishing to your marketing, to make this your most profitable year ever with less stress, with less overwhelm, to make this your easiest and most profitable year ever. We'll see you in the upcoming episodes.